this called session of the Stewart County Full Commission to order. We'll ask if you've got a cell phone, please silence your cell phones right now. We'll ask everyone to please stand and remove your hats for the invitation by Commissioner White.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you, Lord, for this day that you blessed us with. We thank you for all the blessings in our life, Lord. Lord, we ask that you be with our military all across the world and be with all those people in Ukraine, Lord, that are fighting against tyranny. Lord, be with our commission tonight and all those that hold elected office in Stewart County, Lord. Let us be quick in wisdom and slow in anger as we perform the county's business. Lord, lead, guide, and direct us throughout this meeting. Let everything we say and do glorify thy name. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. We'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Brian Tabor.
Yep.
Randall Redmond.
Here.
Drew Shepherd.
Here.
Shane Cakes.
Here.
Eric Watkins.
Here.
Terry Fitzhugh.
Here.
Vince Gray.
Here.
Melissa Fields.
Here.
Art Joe.
Here.
Andy Luton.
Here.
Glenn Mathis.
Here.
Jan Black.
Here.
Mark Dorch.
Here.
13 present, 1 absent.
Thank you, clerk. Ladies and gentlemen, the first item on your agenda tonight is a resolution to establish a property tax freeze implementation committee. Let me just go over a little bit of that for you to help point out the finer points. Whereas the Tennessee General Assembly has enacted 2007 Public Chapter Senate Bill 2, House Bill 1033, to authorize counties to adopt a property tax freeze program to assist senior low-income residents. That's key. Whereas the State Board of Equalization, through its Division of Property Assessments, is required to develop and adopt the rules and regulations for the administration of this program. Whereas the county legislative body of Stewart County desires to form a property tax freeze implementation committee. That committee would consist of, by title, the county mayor, county trustee, the assessor of property, and the finance director. As you'll see in your resolution, it also says, and the following members of the county legislative body. So that would mean, I would imagine, what you would say would be 2 or 3. 2 or 3 of you. I would imagine the Budget and Finance Committee chairman would like to be on this committee. I would imagine that Commissioner Jan Black, since he was the one that brought this property tax freeze implementation committee resolution to the table, I would imagine that he would like to volunteer to be on it. But we need one more commissioner to volunteer if the chairman of the Budget and Finance Committee and Mr. Black would agree. We need one more legislative member to be on this committee, or we could have 6. It's your call. Commissioner Redmond. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 7 members right now that have pledged. You're good with that, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're good with that, Mr. Black? You're good with this being on this committee?
Yes.
Okay. This is when the work starts. If this committee is approved, if you look at section 2 in your packet on page 1, A, this committee will begin work as soon as possible after enactment of this resolution to analyze and determine the following: the financial impact on county revenues for the 10-year period following adoption of the property tax freeze program, recommended methodology and implementation for implementation and administration of the program, administrative costs for implementation and administration of the program, including but not limited to the cost of necessary revisions or additions to computer software programs for tax billing systems, tax appraisal systems, and tax-free application systems. The number and cost of new employees that may be required in county offices in order to implement and administer the program, and any new office space that may be required, and such other information and data as the committee deems relevant. The committee shall develop a final proposal when the State Board of Equalization has issued its rules and regulations governing the administration of the program. The committee shall develop a final proposal and present the proposal to the full county legislative body for its consideration. The committee shall request the assistance of CTAS. That's part of this resolution. This resolution shall take effect upon its passage and approval, the public welfare requiring it. I wanted to go over some of the finer points of this resolution. Any discussion on this resolution, and we will eventually have to have a motion to approve. Open the floor.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve the resolution to establish a property tax freeze implementation committee. That's by Commissioner Fitzhugh, second by Commissioner Joe. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Resolution passes. The next, ladies and gentlemen, you have in front of you, item number 6 on the agenda is to approve the sale of 5.01 acres of the Stewart Houston Industrial Park to Rye Engineering. You will also see in your packet that the Stewart Houston Industrial Park has also approved this sale.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Dortch, second by Commissioner Fitzhugh. Any discussion? All those in favor to approve the resolution to approve the sale of 5.01 acres in the Stewart Houston Industrial Park to Rye Engineering, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes to approve the sale. Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on the agenda is a resolution to honor Stewart County citizens who became professional athletes. This is a really good ceremonial thing to do for Stewart County. We've had 3 athletes who made it to the professional ranks. This will be renaming a section of Highway 120 as you come off Highway 79, right there at North Stewart. Turn right like you're going to Big Rock, and actually it will run from there to Big Rock Road. They will actually want to rename this, if you approve, Stewart County Athletes Highway, with the names Irv Brame, James Bernie Walter, and Billy Cherry underneath it. And I'll just like to read this if you don't mind. Whereas Stewart County takes great pleasure in paying tribute to those homegrown, gifted athletes who have attained the very pinnacle of sporting achievement, and whereas Irv Brame, Bernie Walter, and Billy Cherry are 3 legendary athletes, born and bred in Stewart County, who have brought great credit to our home by their extraordinary success. And whereas Mr. Irv Brame, a hard-throwing right-hander and ball-crushing left-handed slugger, was a genuine double threat who rode those skills from humble beginnings in Big Rock to the major leagues, and through 5 seasons, all with the Pittsburgh Pirates, batted .306 and won 52 games, leading the National League with 22 complete games in 1930. And whereas Mr. Bernie Walter, a feared fastball pitcher that delivered a heater, a good curveball, and a changeup, who pitched all the way from Potneg and Sugar Camp Hollow to the University of Tennessee, and then to the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1930, before injuries forced him to retire early, sending him back to the farming life in Stewart County and the lifelong responsibility of raising his family. And whereas Mr. Billy Cherry, a 1977 standout athlete of Stewart County High School and graduate of Middle Tennessee State University, Mr. Cherry played for the Green Bay Packers in 1987 and 1988. He was also a long snapper on punts and played in 28 grueling games over 2 years. And Coach, did you coach him?
I did.
I thought you did. You sent him on to Middle Tennessee State University.
I did. What kind of credit did I
Add your name.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you for preparing it. Whereas all of these Stewart County residents displayed a sense of humor, a kindness, and energy, and a graciousness that enriched those fortunate enough to know and work with them. And whether on the playing field or not, these Stewart County citizens displayed the utmost respect for their craft and their home, always reflecting a pride in their heritage. Now, therefore, let it be resolved that a section of Highway 120 from Highway 79 north, terminating at Big Rock Road, be renamed Stewart County Athletes Highway in honor of these athletes, Billy Cherry, Bernie Walter, and Irv Brain, who reached the summit of success while all the time reflecting great credit on their homes and families. Signed this 28th day of February, year of our Lord 2022. I would be grateful for a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
So moved by Commissioner Fields. Thank you. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Shepherd. Shepherd. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Do we have any further discussion?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so is this an honorary name, or are we talking about actually renaming the
No,
road?
no, this is just an honorary thing, much the same way that William W. Morris is out here and Petty Officer Rick L. Boyd is in Carter.
I just wanted to be clear.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Next item on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is a joint resolution granting a non-exclusive easement for ingress and egress to Gene Archie Stinson and Jason and Tanya Kyle. And at this time, we'll turn it over to County Council for explanation.
You've got in your packet there the resolution that the city has already passed. It's definitely self-explanatory. You've also got the actual easement that will be recorded in the survey, which is surveying out the actual description of the easement right there on Sandy Road where the little bridge is going into the farmer's market or the riding ring. If there's any questions, we discussed this, or y'all discussed this last time. We just have to get some stuff corrected, but it is granting to the parties, or to the properties, not necessarily the parties, those are just the parties that are there currently. But it will stick with the property no matter who.
And this has previously been passed by Bill Dover.
Town of Dover has already signed the easement and the resolution.
Motion approved.
We have a motion to approve the joint resolution granting a non-exclusive easement, second by Commissioner Fields. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Joint resolution granting a non-exclusive easement for ingress and egress to Gene Archie Stinson and Jason and Tanya Kyle. Approves. Next item on the agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is your Oversight Committee recommendations. At this time, I'll turn it over to Chairman Watkins of the Oversight Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You'll see there are three things that the Oversight Committee went over at their meeting last Thursday. We did have a lot of discussion, but I'm going to go over item A and C first, because item B, you will notice when I get ready to talk about it, it's a little different. So item A, provide premium pay to county health department workers, 19 full-time workers at $4,000 each, equals 76,000. School office workers, 13 part-time workers at $2,000 each, equals $26,000. That's item A. And item C, to provide the money requested by the Stewart County Cub Scouts, $6,000, American Legion Post 72, $6,000, handicap swing sets at Dyers Creek and Lee Creek Park, $8,000. All of these items, except for item B, item A and item C on this list, the committee talked about and voted unanimously for to, it was 4 members present, 2 absent, to recommend these to the county commission. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion to accept item A and item C tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have a motion on the floor to accept item A and item C on the agenda. Do I have a second? Second from Commissioner George. All right, any further discussion?
I have one question.
Commissioner Black?
The school system, and I'm not trying to say that these folks don't deserve the premium pay. They do. My question is, wasn't the school system given their own separate funds to do this with? And why is it coming out of county funds? And is it appropriate to spend county funds for that? Seems that the state separated the money between the school system and the county.
So what's appropriate, Mr. Black, is what the lead elected official justifies and what this commission approves. That's what's appropriate. But to answer your question about ESSER money, ESSER 1 and ESSER 2 are the first two tranches of money that the school system got, and they were not allowed to give bonuses or premium pay is what we'd rather call it. ESSER 3, there's still some discussion. Does that answer your question?
I have a question, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I have just heard rumors, so if you clarify if you can, that the 13 part-time workers, if they were to get money from the county, and then the school were to give money, that they would be excluded from the school number. Is there any truth to that? Have you heard that?
So I actually, the finance director and myself actually met with the director of schools and the school finance director. And what was discussed was that if any monies were given to these categories, then, if the school system decided to give money in the future, if it was more money, they would raise it. They would not double the bonus, but if the school system gave money, let's say they get $2,000 from the county, and let's say the school system gave $2,500. Well, the school system would be obligated to make up that $500. But they would not make it a double.
I understand what you're saying, but I do not see that as being fair to them. Like to those 13 employees. Those 13 employees, they showed up to work, when others, I assume.
Now, these 13 employees are getting, if you approve it tonight.
Yes, no, I completely understand. I agree. I think those 13 deserve what they're getting, hopefully tonight, plus some. That's why I hate it that when they have shown up to work, they are getting what I guess we're considering to be not necessarily a bonus payment, but
It's premium pay.
a premium pay. for
Based on
going to
hours
work.
worked.
But then if the school system turns around and awards everyone, and then they're excluded, were they given any premium pay? Does that make sense what I'm asking?
Well, if they were excluded, they wouldn't be, if they got the county money, but they were excluded from the school money?
I understand.
Is that what your question is?
Yes. I don't think it would be fair to them to be excluded from the school money also.
So you think they should get whatever
I
the
think
county
they should
gives
get
them?
both.
That would be, I think, Commissioner, that's gonna be a question for the director.
No, I agree. I agree, but I think that is pretty common and pretty unethical if that comes to be true. To exclude someone because they've already got paid from someone else, because they wouldn't get paid from the people that paid them. I mean, I think that's pretty, for lack of a better word, if that comes to be true.
So you would advocate if they got the double bonus? then-
Every day.
Well, they were front line, facing. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions, Commissioner?
No,
Any other discussion? This is a money vote, so we'll ask the clerk to call the roll call on.
I'm sorry, would it be the same way with, since we already have given money to the school bus drivers and the school cafeteria workers that volunteered to come in on there, would it be the same way with the school system if they decided to give the money?
I don't think that the director has led me to believe that they would not be, it doesn't go along with what Commissioner Luton says, but he led me to believe that they would get a matching amount of whatever, if they decided to give it to the school, other school systems. That's not a given deal. That's not a given deal. Commissioner T.
So if we grant this and we give them this money, what's to stop the school system from just pocketing the money and saying, hey, we already got the money, now we can spend it on something else?
Well, You're saying if we would cut the check to the school system and they didn't pay the employees? I didn't mind, I'd have to agree with Mr. Living, that'd be kind of common right there. I don't think they would do it. But, any other questions? Any further discussion? As I said, this is a money vote, so we'll ask the clerk to call the roll. And let me just remind everybody, what the chairman, what we're voting on is to provide premium pay to county health department workers, at $76,019 of them, and school office workers, $26,013 of them, Stewart County Cub Scouts, American Legion Post 72, $6,000 each, and the handicap swing sets at Dyers Creek and Lid Creek at $8,000. And let me just remind everybody, the handicap swing sets are a collaboration between the county, the Corps of Engineers, the Sheriff's Department, and the town of Dover. So, just wanted to let you all know that there's a lot of people working together on that. So, we'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Art Joe,
Yes.
Andy Lou,
Yes.
Clint Mathis,
Yes.
Jan Black,
Yes.
Martin Dorr,
Yes.
Brian Keeper,
Yep.
Randall Redmond,
Yes.
Drew Shipper,
Yes.
Shane Case,
Yes.
Eric Watkins,
Yes.
Terry Hitchcock,
Yes.
Vince Gray,
Yes.
Melissa Fields.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Thank you. Let the record reflect that the vote was unanimous. That's A and C, Mr. Chairman. Would you like to explain B?
Okay, on item B, it says here, who shall be responsible for sub-recipient monitoring of the ARPA funds? Should it be the oversight committee, individual membership, the committee as a whole, or a professional managing group? The committee did not vote. They voted to send it on to the full commission. They did not give a recommendation. So, Mr. Chairman, you can take that over and lead discussion on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The choices that we have available to monitor these funds are either individual oversight committee members, the oversight committee as a whole, or a professional management group that we could hire. The final rule from Department of Treasury allows that you can set money aside to make sure that the money is spent in the right way. And so we did. You've already approved $10,000 to be spent up until December 31st, 2024, to hire a consulting firm. Now, there's only certain areas that this managing group would have to provide oversight, sub-recipient monitoring. Probably the animal control groups, possibly Parks and Recreation, because that's a large chunk of money, but specifically the animal control groups. I think the Oversight Committee was a little bit hesitant because, as Commissioner Tieber mentioned before, we don't want to be on the hook to have to repay this money. So when you're starting to send out money to nonprofits like one of our 5 animal control groups, you want to make sure that they're following the right guidelines. One of the restrictions that the Oversight Committee brought up was that we don't want to allocate or disperse this money to a nonprofit, $40,000 over 2 years, to build 6 kennels, and then they build it on private property. We can't have that. If they're going to build 6 kennels with the money that this commission disperses to them, it's going to have to be on nonprofit property. And so those are just some of the questions that the Oversight Committee had, some of the restrictions they wanted to put on a managing group, or on themselves, or on whoever this legislative body decides to place this oversight on. So you could make the choice to let the Oversight Committee interview and select a management group, or which is what I think, with the chairman, I think what your Oversight Committee is leaning towards. Or you can request that the oversight committee, individual members, or the oversight committee as a whole monitor these recipients of the money. Does that answer your question? Does that help you, Mr. Watkins? Yes. Is there any other questions about that?
Yes,
Commissioner Redmond?
how complex is this to do, you know, to get somebody else to do it, other than?
So it's not really complex, Commissioner Redmond, because the way that the final rule came out and the lessons of restrictions. So we can place all our money in what's called government services. And the finance director has basically come up with a template and a couple of rules to follow for these nonprofits. It's not really hard, but someone has to do it, and we're talking about $140,000 to 5 different animal control groups, $250,000 to an engineering firm and the Parks and Recreation Committee. So it's gonna be a little bit of work. We don't have to spend the entire $10,000. Maybe we could get away with, a lot less than that. We're definitely not going into it looking to spend all that money at once. Commissioner Black.
Are we going to request that all these nonprofits and organizations that we're giving money to submit a comprehensive proposal for what they plan to spend the
No.
funds on?
No.
Then how are you going to gauge?
We're going to ask them to submit a template of where they're going to spend the money.
How are
And
you
we're going to
going
monitor the
gauge
receipts.
whether or not the money is spent appropriately if you do not have a proposal from them that outlines exactly what they plan to spend the money for?
Well, you're voting, Commissioner, on a managing group to oversee them.
If they don't have a proposal, how would they know what they're permitted and not permitted to spend it on?
Define proposal?
A proposal, it outlines exactly what the nonprofit or organization we're giving money to plans to spend it on.
And we already have that.
Hold them accountable.
We have that, Commissioner.
We do have it.
We do have it.
I've
When they
asked for it,
start-
I've never seen it. I've yet to see it.
Have you asked for it in writing?
No, do you have it?
Ask for it in writing.
I did ask for it.
I don't have a copy of
Then we don't have one. Because I asked for one the last.
it. Mr. Chairman of the Oversight Committee, I think the first meeting that we had, that all the proposals were submitted.
They were there.
Do we have those proposals?
Well, everybody that was at that meeting got one.
Do we collectively, as a county, have those proposals in?
I assume there's a copy in the mayor's office. But I have a copy at home.
Of all the proposals?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was my
But
question.
one thing I'm gonna say, if these people are not 501c3 nonprofits, I'm dead set against giving them anything.
Well, I
Nonprofit
agree.
is nonprofit.
But then again, a nonprofit can spend money inappropriately too.
They absolutely can.
Guidelines, federal and state, we have to comply with.
Absolutely, I agree a hundred
But we
percent.
put the taxpayers of this county on the
Sure,
hook.
I agree 100%.
Right. Okay.
Commissioner Fields.
Mayor, I was just gonna say, I think that you said that the finance director came up with a template, that's what they would, kinda like a budget. Is that what it seems like?
It's about an 8-page template of how they're gonna spend the money. That's in conjunction with the W-9, providing their insurance information, tax information, the template, and then the receipts as collected. And that was another thing that the Oversight Committee wanted. They wanted to disperse some money in phases to these nonprofits and collect receipts as they go.
I agree.
But Commissioner.
Go back just a minute, we have set aside money to pay this group of
Yes, sir.
$8,000.
Yes, sir. Yes,
And you
Commissioner.
can- we can do it for that, you think, or less?
I think we can do it for that.
Sounds like a lot of work, that's the reason I'm asking.
But it's only about, really, right now, we're looking at about $350,000 if you include the Parks and Recreation and the animal control.
And there's such groups that do exist out there. so-
There are, I've actually been in consultation with some that will be bringing before the Oversight Committee. The Oversight Committee would have to select its
Okay,
statute.
okay, that's good.
I would say D, all of the above.
I was gonna say that.
We have a motion on the floor to hire a professional managing group. I have a second by Commissioner Shepherd. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, Mr. Chairman, all three of your Items passed.
Thank you,
The
sir.
next item on the agenda is to approve the equalization board members. We do have the assessor of property, Martha Wallace, in the audience tonight if there are any questions. But we do have Ronnie Allen, David Cheatham, A.C. Faust, John Hurd, Dana Moore, and Jerry Watkins that are on the schedule to be approved. Do we have any questions for the assessor? We'll have to suspend the rules. Any questions about any of these candidates?
Yes. How many of these have been on there before?
I think you have, we'll ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
Motion. Second.
All those in favor? Martha, assessor of property, could you answer that, please?
There's the two, A.C. Faust and Mr. Jerry Watkins.
And, assessor, these are 2-year terms, correct?
Yes.
2-year terms, and they come before you every even number of years. So you'll be coming again in 2 more years. Hopefully, we'll have all 6 of these still on the board. Do I have a motion to approve the equalization board members?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Watkins, do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Gray. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record reflect, Mr. Clerk, that it passed unanimously. Next item on the agenda is to approve the Stewart County Industrial Development Board members. This term year is May 1st through April 30th. You see the 7 names that we have in front of you. We have a developer, Justin Booth, an insurance representative, Lee Hargis, a man with legal legislative knowledge, Paul Higgs, a real estate representative, Misty Kinney, a retired lieutenant colonel from the U.S. Army, Don Ray, Mikey Wallace, a business owner from Big Rock, and Brian Watson, who is the only returning member. The last time that this Industrial Development Board met was 7 years ago. These terms are at the most for 6 years, so all these terms have expired. So I'm asking all of you tonight to approve these 7 names for our Stewart County, newly reconstituted Stewart County Industrial Development Board.
Now,
Any questions?
is this for the industrial park or what?
No. This is not anything to do with the Stewart Houston Industrial Park. This is the Stewart County Industrial Development Board.
And what will their duties be?
So the first thing that they'll do, Commissioner T-Bird, once they're reconstituted, we'll call a meeting, hopefully in March. They'll elect their officers, sign their conflict of interest statements, their confidentiality statements, and we're gonna educate them on, the first thing is the property evaluation program that's offered by the state of Tennessee. So the property evaluation, or PEP program, is a state grant that is highly competitive. Chances of getting it are very slim, but we're gonna go for it. So basically, in a nutshell, is you identify about 8 or 10 properties, in this case along the Montgomery County line, that are possible industrial growth areas. And so we will submit these list of names and properties to the property evaluation program at the state, and the Industrial Development Board is gonna be a driver of that. They're gonna be one of the driving forces. As you know, by looking up the rules and regulations of an Industrial Development Board, they can operate separately from this full commission. And we have, it's nothing new, it's not anything new for this county. The last time they met was in 2015, referring to CIG Industries at the Stewart Houston Industrial Park. There was a deed that had to be approved. Then there were some ad valorem taxes that were forgiven over time. So this is not something that you would be completely creating. It's just something that we would be constituting with one returning member who happened to be the president.
Now, so if I heard everything, there's no oversight on them. They can operate any independently or?
They can, because they would have their own revenue stream. They can operate independently with their own revenue stream, but not the general fund or anything like that. So once this would be created, generally what you'll do is you'll go into a line item with a hotel motel tax, and there'll be a revenue stream diverted there into the Industrial Development Board over time. Any other questions about these members for the Industrial Development Board? The Industrial Development Board eventually, my hope is to make one of a three-part team. The Industrial Development Board President, the Chamber of Commerce Director, and the Economic Community Development Director. Now, we don't have an Economic Community Development Director yet, but Stewart County is gonna have to go in that direction. So we'll get this Industrial Development Board reconstituted, we'll get them working with the Chamber of Commerce, and eventually an ECD Director. That's my hope for the future, the short-term future, I hope. Any other questions about these names or the IDB? I would entertain a motion on the board to approve these Industrial Development Board member recommendations. So moved by Commissioner Shepard. You have a second by Commissioner Mathis. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Approve the Industrial Development Board members, thank you. The next item on the agenda is to approve notaries. Renewals are Tim Borens, Karen Mann, Kevin Wan. New are Candy Dolan, John Douglas, Heather Johnson, Gina Cottrell Link, and Thomas A. Myers. We have a motion on the floor to approve by Commissioner Dortch. Second by Commissioner Luton. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Last item on the agenda tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is to approve surplus property from the Stewart County Highway Department and the Emergency Management Agency. You've had a chance to look at these. Do I have a motion to? So moved by Mr. Fitzhugh. Second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Fields. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Have a motion for adjournment. Motion to adjourn by Commissioner Joe.
Second.
Second by Fields. Stand adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.